Assalamualaikum and a very good day to my viewers, especially to our ELC 560 lecturer Miss Nick MASTURA. I am ANNUR Amanda, and today my friends NURUL ATHIRAH and NURIN BATRISYIA will join me in our executive summaries presentation for the article by Monica T. Whitty and Tom Buchanan titled The Online Romance Scam, a Serious Cybercrime. Without further ado, let's start. I will now start with the introduction. This research was done in the late 2000s in the Great Britain, and the issue on online romance scam came to light in 2006, but it became more prominent in 2008 when the internet was at its peak. The question was, how does this happen? So these criminals will start by initiating a relationship, and it was estimated that about 230,000 of the British people may have been a victim to this crime. These criminals will start by obtaining sympathy from the victims, and these relationships can last up to 8 months before they disappear after getting the money. And the goal of this article is to find out the common rate of this scam and to also find out how society is finding out about this online romance scam.
Moving on to the procedure and methodology of the survey. The survey was conducted in Great Britain involving 2,028 British that aged 18 years old and above. There were 902 men and 1,126 women that took part in this survey, and this survey took into account their gender, marital status, and also employment status. The survey was conducted for 3 days, which was from 6th of July until 8th of July. On the website of YouGov. YouGov is a formal website that is specialized in conducting online surveys and also operating professionally for consulting purposes.
If we take a closer look on the aspects of the participant, we can see on the perspective of the age of the participants, 10% of them were 18 to 24 years old. In the range of 25 to 34 and 35 to 44 years old were 14%, 17% of them aged 45 to 54 years old, and more than half of the respondents were 55 years and above. Moving on to their employment status, more than half of them were full-time workers, 23% of them had retired, 10% of the respondents were part-timers, the remaining balance were either unemployed, students, or others. Lastly, on the marital matters of the respondents, more than half of the respondents were having civil partnerships, 23% of them were single, 11% of them were officially married, divorcee covered 10% of the respondents, and 2% of them were widowed, and the remaining balance chose not to stay.
As a result, the website has collected 300,000 panelists to be involved in this survey, and the response rate is 33.3%. In this survey, the participant was briefly informed regarding the general information of online romance scam, and they were proceeded to 3 questions, which firstly is whether they were aware regarding the issue of online romance scam, and secondly, on how they have gained the information of online romance scam, and lastly, whether they have any acquaintances that has been a victim of online romance scam.
Next, I will talk about the findings and results that we obtained from the article. Among the 2,028 people sampled, 0.65% admitted to being a victim of the online romance scam, and 0.28% knew people who were scammed. If we calculate it through the British adult population, which is 47,754,569 in 2011, that would make 0.0065% people of the population were scammed, and 0.0028% knew people who were scammed. This data also suggests that in mid-2011, cases will reach around 230,000 This is very worrying as it will affect the victims psychologically. However, the SOCA and Action Fraud's effort in raising awareness through several platforms are proven to be prominently successful, as more and more people are finding it out through televisions, newspapers, magazines, the internet, and many more.
In conclusion, online romance scam can financially and emotionally affect people. From the perspective of financially, when they actually spent their money on their matches and got deceived by them. From the perspective of emotionally, when they got traumatized by online dating, when actually online dating can bring so many more benefits if we look thoroughly. Thus, there shall be a law on online romance scam because as we all know, the crime was underreported. So when there is a law, it will make it easier for the victims to come forward and lodge a report.
Moving on to recommendations. First of all, it is vital for us to understand the effectiveness of various medias such as televisions, newspapers, and even magazines in spreading awareness about online romance scams. Though knowledge of the scams does not mean a total prevention, it could lessen the probability of us falling victim to it. And by knowing which of these medias works best, we can focus on that and reach out to a lot more people and enlighten them about the dangers of online romance scams. Secondly, officials are encouraged to provide a better way to report scams. This is because, as it stands now, victims have to go to the police stations and make a report about it. They have to make a statement about what happened. And why most scam crimes goes unreported? Because the victims feel reluctant or ashamed to share the stories to the police officers. And lastly, radio should be utilized more as an alternative in spreading awareness about scams. And this is because radio is accessible to a wide range of people, the same as televisions and magazines, but as what the research shows, the number of people who are made aware of the scams through radio is significantly lower than the number of people who are made aware of that through televisions and magazines. Radio broadcast should be utilized more to its full potential rather than focusing solely on entertainment. The limitations to this research is that, first of all, only a small number of participants use an online dating site. We can see that the number of people who heard about an online dating scam through an online dating site is lower than the other forms of medias, as they never used it in the first place. Naturally, the data will show that the online dating site did not warn their user about the dangers and possibility of a scam through the applications. Secondly, the research found that more women than men heard about the online dating scam through magazines. This may be caused by the fact that most magazines target audience are women, and it could differ in terms of the content in the magazines, the ideas the publishers are trying to convey, and the advertisements they use. All these informations differ between magazines, so it may be cause women to be more alert about the dangers of online romance scams through magazine.
Hence, that will be the end of our presentation on the article titled The Online Romance Scam, a Serious Cybercrime by Monica Tiwiti and Tom Buchanan. Thank you for listening to us today and have a very good day ahead.